But so the eye changing to red was Joel's idea, because he just says, like, cinematically, I totally agree with his argument, which was, if this was a movie scene, when that, when it's stone, it looks, when his eye is closed, it looks stone. Nothing there.
Right.
It's a giant rock mountain.
Mhm.
But then if that eye opens up and it's red and juicy and, and you can see your reflection in it, kind of stuff, then suddenly it's like, oh crap. So, but yeah. So that's what I worked on. I'll check that thing out in a second here, Brendan. But yeah, so the dragon is for DCD Collects again, guys. So if you want it, you got to follow them, and they will be putting up the Dragon project up. And I think you're going to dig it, because we just signed another artist on board, and it's somebody who I'm a huge fan of his stuff. So we're still trying to find one more artist. I was actually trolling Twitch today, looking for traditional artists to try and hire. It was weird, because there aren't a lot. Huh. Gee, I wonder what that is. I like the overhead shot. Nice. Thank you, Brendan.
It's going to be a very nice work band, I will say.
So,
but before I forget, because I do want to discuss this with you, I want to discuss with this with you guys as well. So, most recently, William Shatner came out and said that Gene Roddenberry would be, quote unquote, turning over in his grave with the new elements of Star Trek. Well, now it's been recently. There has been a more recent article with Gene Roddenberry's son, who said that Gene, as like that, he thinks that his father would be very proud in terms of where it is that Star Trek has gone and what it's doing now.
Literally gone where no one has gone before.
I will say the son is more accurate. Because
I will agree with that statement. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's like, it's like, okay, Gene Roddenberry passed away in 1991. Yes, William Shatner did work very closely with Gene Roddenberry in terms of creating Star Trek and all this other stuff. But you can't say in 2022 that someone would be turning over in their grave because, oh, this is happening now in Star Trek.
Yeah. And so one of the things that's come up is a lot of people are bitching that Star Trek had, like, we actually cracked a joke about it on this stream, about how the USS Discovery is basically the gayest ship in Starfleet. And the joke was in lighthearted recognition of the fact that it is the most inclusive cast ever. You have non-binary, you have gay, lesbian characters, you have various races, you have not alien races, but various races of human actors and various ethnicities of human actors portraying all these various characters, and it is probably the most inclusive cast on television. And for the most part, they don't none of the stories have been about somebody's relationship and them being gay. The stories have been about their relationships or their relationship with a person, but they're not beating you over the head going, look, we've got a film made with gay people and aren't we awesome? Like, they're not beating it. It's not, like my whole argument with again, I'll use it because it's the best example, Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was a 2.5 hour or 2 hour commercial of how great Marvel was for making a female-led superhero movie. And they loved reminding you of it in the story every 10 minutes. And I hated that because it took me out of the movie. I have troubles enjoying that movie as much as I think it's actually a decent movie. I have troubles enjoying it because I'm constantly being told I should be enjoying it, not because it's a great movie, but because it's a female-led movie. And it's like, well, can't it just be a good movie and it happens to be led by a female? Like, why do I have to enjoy it because it's a female-led movie? And they're in where I think Star Trek has done it really well. is you can have these stories about characters with, you know, different backgrounds, different lifestyles, genders, sexualities, whatever, and none of it matters. They're just people, you know, and they're damn good actors who are doing a damn good job, and it's an enjoyable show. So I think that people who are angry at them for being that inclusive probably need to more evaluate themselves than the show, personally. But, you know, that's just kind of, you know, that's my same logic, like with the what was that whole thing? The guy who was leading the one Republican dude, I can't remember his name. Like, it was like 10 years ago, whatever. Some Republican dude got busted for hitting on a male page in a bathroom, like tapping their feet together at the urinal or whatever. I guess he thought was a code for let's get it on. And but I forgot what it was. But the guy was actually part of like this family first thing where they were arguing against gay marriage and homosexuality, and it turned out the guy was actually having gay affairs. So it's just basically a hypocrite. So yeah, but back onto the topic of Star Trek. Star Trek has always been about trying to be inclusive. You know, again, when we talked about when Nichelle Nichols passed away, and by the way, that billboard that was posted that we saw, I think I put it on Discord. That was actually that was actually from my understanding, one of my friends from the Roddenberry Productions actually says he thinks that was actually a Roddenberry Productions billboard. So they paid to put a giant tribute up to Nichelle Nichols, and it was wonderful. But that was the whole thing when we were talking about her and her influence on television and movies. It was, you know, that whole concept that here is a black woman who's portraying a main character and in a show, and she has a position of authority. She's not the maid.
Serving command.
She's not the help. She's not a slave. She's not, she's not just a throwaway token character who's on set just so people can point at and say, "Ooh, look at us, aren't we inclusive?" You know, she actually had a purpose to be there. She just happened to be black and female in a role that normally at that time in the 60s would have been cast to a white male character. And, and of course you also had George Takei, you know, a gay Asian gentleman. Now, also, I don't think he actually came out till years later, though. But
No, yeah. Not so much later.
But still, you know, it was still an Asian character, and again, in a role that normally would have been cast, you know, to a white male. But my favorite was actually, believe it or not, Chekhov. Because in the height of the Cold War
was going on, right?
Yeah, in the height of the Cold War and the Red Scare, you made a character Russian.
No, pretty bold.
So yeah, I mean, that right there, those three individuals flat out tell you that Star Trek had a different view of how the world and how the universe should work. Everybody should get along, and that was actually one of the big arguments that the writers had with Gene Roddenberry, by the way, in The Next Generation. Is the reason the first two seasons of The Next Generation are kind of rough to watch is because Gene was very adamant that there was no conflict among the crew. Everybody loved each other for who they were. There was no conflict, no issues, no whatever. And so the writers could never do anything where there was any kind of, nothing like Deanna Troi and Riker. You couldn't have any kind of, bit of jealousy or even like playfulness, competition or anything like that against each other. And so that really affected some of the character growth and development you can do.
The only friction on the original Star Trek is between like Bones and Spock.
Yeah. And but yeah, it's so I think that Shatner is absolutely wrong. Long story short, Star Trek is very inclusive. And by the way, Strange New Worlds is awesome in my opinion because like I'm loving Discovery, but I think if you're an original series fan, holy crap, Strange New Worlds has got to be blowing your mind. Because you know what's going to happen to the character. So
Yeah.
they don't need
Captain Pike, the best captain.
So, and his hairline. So other than his hair, you know what's going to happen. And so there's no so you don't have
even later day Captain Pike, wheelchair Captain Pike, still looking still kind of coiffed.
Well, my point though is you don't know or you know what's going to happen to the character. You don't really have a villain of the week or a villain of the month, excuse me, or a villain of the season, I should say. So there you don't have that whole thing like, this season the Borg is going to be our big baddie, So that was something that you had like with Picard. This season, the AI, are going to be the big baddie. And then the next season, it's oh god, season 2 was so horrible. I can't remember who was the bad. Oh, the time travel thing. But anyways, you have there's always this season-long story arc, very much in the Babylon 5, aspect. But a lot of the fans of the older shows hated that. They liked the fact that while the Next Generation started and ended with the same story arc, in between then everything was just totally disjointed and didn't have anything to do with the start and end of the series. It was nice to see how they were able to tie it all together in the grand finale, the series finale. But it's that idea of these, Enterprise was the one that really got hit hard, I think, by the fans revolting, because they had the whole, trying to get the Klingon to his homeworld kind of story arc. And so these huge story arcs that took place over the season or over several, 4 or 5 episodes in a season, people are getting mad
I thought it was because of the singing, the opening theme.
Oh no, that was just the first thing to make you revolting. But the funny thing is you know why that singing's in there? Their logic behind that was they wanted people to realize that this isn't the same. It's not the same as the other Star Treks.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, yeah, but I still disagree with it. I still think it was a bad idea.
It's like it's a slap in the face though with a mackerel though.
Especially since that show would have been 20% better if they just didn't have that opening credits song.
Oh yeah, so the Enterprise that when they go to the mirror universe though, and they made like a mirror universe opening for it, no singing. Much better opening.
Oh, hell yeah.
But it just shows like how, the imperialism of Earth, both on Earth and then later on in the galaxy, and it's like, oh yeah, no, I can it's it's good. It's like I can get behind this. It's like, yeah. No singing. It's like that's the good universe or the mirror universe is like kind of leaning towards the mirror universe now. Less singing, or at least less stupid singing.
I'm somewhat fascinated by what they're going to do with the Lower Decks Strange New Universe crossover. I'm assuming it's probably going to be an episode of the Strange New Worlds that takes place on the Enterprise Lower Decks. So you'll probably have different cast and crew.
Right.
But it would be really funny if it was animated.
Unless they actually do get like live actors to play their Lower Decks characters.
That would be interesting. I would rather see the reverse.
Or even if I would think it'd be nice if just as a nod, like Lower Decks happens during or post Next Generation. I was gonna say, so they can't actually mention it, and all of the Star Treks, even the original, always mention how wonderful, how awesome Captain Pike was. But yeah, it's. I was just gonna say, well, there could be something in Lower Decks where they, but that wouldn't be novel because I got people always remember, talk about the first, and
let's not face it.
In Star Trek Discovery, when Saru is trying to he's doing like a little self-analysis, like what are the qualities of the best captains, in Star Trek, and it mentions like Pike, Archer. Archer's also like right up there.
Yep.
And then there was like a third one. I think it was like a Vulcan or something like that. But
I was gonna say it could also be, let's not forget that time travel is kind of a beloved Star Trek trope.
Oh God, yeah. No, they really. If nothing else, Gene Roddenberry made that really kind of like, yeah, no, we're gonna do this thing. It's like we are. It's like, yeah, no, sometimes just for no reason.
I found out why they do that, by the way.
Yeah,
It's called a bottle episode. So a lot of
yeah,
times they'll do something where it's like, well, there's this other set that was used for a TV show, and they're
yeah.
going to dismantle it next month. We have 2
Right.
weeks to film an episode on that set and have to pay nothing. So
Right.
that's really how stuff like that happens. Is
Yeah.
they would actually just go in and try really hard to create an episode or film something on somebody else's set, or that's why you have bottle episodes are also those recap episodes. So I found that out at Comic-Con this year. So I'm very excited to finally figure out that those are called bottle episodes. Because for years I kind of always wondered. But yeah, it's you could do one of those type of episodes where the cast basically walks down, like once you take once you take the transporter, or a Jeffries tube or whatever, to a lower deck, you literally become animated. That's what I want to see. I want to see them
Right.
get on. I want to see them get on the elevator live action, get off the elevator animated,
Elevator as
and
animated.
go,
That
"What
would be
the
cool.
hell?"
I
And
was
go,
just
"Yeah,
thinking
we're on the
that.
lower decks." Oh,
Yes.
that explains
Oh
it.
yeah, that's what this is all about.
Like that's what I want, but that's just I'm messed up.
It has been done before on two instances. So there was one for Star Trek Next Generation, um, where they talk about the lower decks. There's a junior crew that look. It's kind of like this mirror image of the senior staff of Picard's Enterprise.
Yep.
And then also Janeway did it on Voyager. Like there's this whole scene. It's like, yeah, granted we're the Delta Quadrant or whatever, but we're still doing a performance evaluation, and there are these like 5 people who just are just they're not bad, but they're not great. Like they're doing like they're doing C minus work. They're doing just enough.
Yeah.
And so like Janeway takes it upon herself to go and talk to some people, and they are in the lower decks of it, and she's like all kind of like turned around. It's like, I don't even know where I am in my own ship. And she does see that it's kind of like looser down there, like they're it's not as tidy. It's not like unclean, but there's definitely a certain little level of chaos that you don't see on the bridge.
Yeah.
So I do remember that, and I thought that was a pretty good episode. It's like, aha, see, Jeff Bezos comes down there and starts, jumps on the helpline. I would love to see Jeff Bezos in an Amazon warehouse. It's like, here, pick these 50 things in the next 30 minutes.
Hell yeah.
Time travel. What was I thinking?
I don't know. You haven't finished your sentence.
I don't know. The lizard brain saw something else and got distracted, and now it's running away. It'll come back with something juicy, I'm sure. But I love just getting back to the art here. For those who might not, what medium are you working in? And again, the white pen, really bringing out the highlights here.
I don't have any white pen on this one. It's actually 2 things. So one, I'm using the Verithin white to get the lighter whites, and then for the areas that really pop, Holbein actually has 2 white pencils. One's called Soft White, which is a very soft white, which makes a very intense white, which is brilliant. But I wish I had not gone through half the pencil before I realized it actually says in very fine print under here, use knife to sharpen, because the tip kept breaking on me, and I was like, why? Why does this keep breaking? I was getting so frustrated. I thought maybe I dropped it or something. But yeah, it's literally because it's such a soft lead, it breaks in the sharpener. But yeah, so I'm using gouache as my usual. Hopefully that works.
Mandela was saying, if only you could go backwards in time to the point before you got distracted talking about time travel. Which is a Futurama little episode where the professor makes this very H.G. Wells style like time machine, but it doesn't work or whatever. He's got like it's like I think
only
an
goes
homage
forward.
to the treadmills that all of us bought and never used, and it's like he's just got laundry hanging off of it. And Zoidberg says like, well, if you can only get it to work, you can go back in time and not bother with it.
That's the one where it only goes forward in time, right?
No, that's another episode.
Oh, I love that episode because
That
I
one
love
was
the whole.
like, but that is a theory of how it works, that it all just keeps repeating.
Yep, but I loved the whole bit when he's all like, "Ooh, slow it down! I'm going to shoot Hitler from the window." And he does. He pulls out his sniper rifle and takes a shot at missed. That episode, Futurama is an amazing show.
Yes, yeah.
Every time I talk about it, I want to go watch it, except I'm live streaming, so I can't.
Right. No, actually, I have right next to me, or I did. Let me get the jar. I literally have
Wonderful, fantastic uniform that is velour.
Velour, yes.
Zeb Brannigan with his fantastic velour.
I guess what was the season 4 or whatever, or what Futurama, which is actually just one movie because I've watched it now. Bender's Game.
Oh,
and it's just like
yeah. I forgot what season that was, but yeah, that's actually
it's all really just one movie. Yeah.
Was that one of the 4 episode season things or whatever that they did?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was actually a Cartoon Network / the Adult Swim deal. So they couldn't get them to commit to a full season, so what they did was they got them to commit to 4 movies.
Yeah.
And so they did 4 episode movies that turned out to be 16 episodes because math. But yeah.
Mandela was saying it's like all of our GPS satellites have to be programmed to compensate for several hundredths of a second, or all of our GPS coordinates would be wrong by miles. Yes, it has to take into compensation just the travel time and the distance of the signal.
Well, also we've experienced this personally in New York, where you walk between the buildings, and suddenly you get no satellite signal because all the buildings are blocking it. And you're sitting there. It's like you're standing on the corner. You're not going anywhere, but you suddenly watch your dot jump in the Hudson River. It's like, why am I doing that?
All right, yeah, no.
I'm at Penn Station. What the hell am I doing in the Hudson River?
Concrete bouncing the signal
and
off.
then if this is like truly, if we go about what Mandela says, that's what your future is going to be. At some point in the future, you are jumping in the Hudson River.
I could use a third eye. I'll go for that. In case the other 2 fail, it'd be nice to have a third. I'm okay with it. Unless they clean it up by then. So, in which case, you got to jump in the Hudson River on St. Patrick's Day. Because they say they dye it green. I honestly think they just stop dyeing it, and it turns green again. So
was the Hudson River also like at one point it like caught fire?
No, that was Erie. Lake Erie caught on fire.
Was that Lake Erie? Okay.
Yeah. That was I learned that history lesson by watching The Crow. Lake Erie caught on fire once because of all the shit floating in it. I'd have loved to see that. Well, they sound a little more like Matthew McConaughey, but I'd have loved to see that.
I was watching another podcast. They were talking about how they're thrilled about the idea of the X-Men being folded in to the Disney Marvel universe and stuff. And somebody suggested, it's like, wouldn't it be cool if Matthew McConaughey, or somebody with that kind of voice played Gambit? It's like, I'd be totally here for it if Matthew McConaughey did, Gambit, but like from his Magic Mike era.
I'm torn. I'm torn on that one. Part of me is like, oh, that would be funny. The other part of me is like, oh my God, don't destroy my movie.
Yeah, no, time dilation.
There we go.
And puts up a Wikipedia link. We love the Wikipedia links. 3 relativistic effects are time dilation, gravitational frequency shift, and eccentricity effects. So 2 of those terms I think have actually been used in Star Trek. And it goes time dilation. It's like, yes, time dilation. We need to, folks. If you can, try and work time dilation into conversation today. Just don't blurt it out. But if like you get pulled over by a cop, do you know how fast you were going? It's like, no, because of time dilation. It's relative. But yeah, folks, just we're going to play a little buzzword bingo. Try and work time dilation in the conversation today.
Will confetti go off? And somebody said, you said the word of the day.
Okay, Lee, chat, Madala, Brennan, all of you. That should be an app. If Google Assistant is always listening to us, that you can have on your phone, like the Buzzword Bingo app. You can, hit the button and you're playing Buzzword Bingo with like 5 or 30 friends or 50 of your friends. And there's because I used to do this in my graduate class. And you try and work in these conversations, and you have you can set, it's like, okay, these are the words you need to be able to say, whoever can come up with most of them in a 24-hour period, and you activate your app and just be smart enough to put it on silent, but you work these conversations on and you can see on your screen confetti going off every time that you do it, and all the people can track. It's like, holy shit, Ren has already said 17 words on the 25-word list. We got to hurry up and make this presentation and work in time dilation, eccentricity effects, and
plethora.
Pimento loaf. We got to get these words in there.
I have a plethora of pimento loaf. I got 2.
So let's get cracking on that, kids.
I mean, technically, well, they already made something like that. It's called the Word of the Day calendar.
Oh yeah. But I want this to. We need to gamify it so we can put ads into it, so we can make a little coin. We gotta. We have to be able. We have to pay those engineers in Uzbekistan or whatever who actually built this thing for us.
Tunisia.
Tunisia.
No, literally, one of my friends, he likes to hire engineers in Tunisia. Because he's like,
why Tunisia specifically?
Because he gets to pay them something stupid like 1/16 what it would cost elsewhere. But in the process of doing that, he's still paying them 100 times the annual salary of somebody of the average salary in Tunisia. And it basically means that they don't end up taking up crime.
Garden Shoe says, a night in Tunisia. Thanks for joining us, Garden Shoe. And Sky J88 has given us the follow. Thank you very much, Sky.
Thank you, Sky.
I think I've mentioned this before, but my brother recently got married, and they have been releasing more and more wedding video stuff and some of the shots they took. And he told me that this is also their contribution to helping the war, helping support the fight for independence in Ukraine, because the film crew, the photography crew, there's 3 of them actually. They brought drones. It was a lot of fun. Is Ukrainians? Oh, the Ukrainians is they say. My brother. Well, they say the Ukrainian. How am I supposed to know?
I mean, they claim to be Ukrainian. I'm just trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these accents, you sound a little bit like Chekhov from Star Trek, and I go, sure. What? It's yeah, well, actually, that's actually a Polish accent. It's yeah, I see. And my brother goes, yeah, see, I don't know. Russian, Ukrainian, Polish. It's all kind of, it's not, like they're talking to him in English, so it's
They're all from the same neighborhood.
right. Yeah, Georgia, also the country, not the states. They all have kind of like they're just similar, unless you're from there. And then when I'm saying to you, when I'm saying is highly offensive to you, it's like no, it's completely different. Yes, Sapporo says you'll get punched if you call a Polaroid. Yes, Polish are still, no, they really are.
Yep.
Although I would say that Poland's stock is rising. They really need to make more of a big deal about it. That The Witcher was written by Polish authors and it deals a lot with the Polish mythology and stuff. And then also the video game. There's actually a very big video game industry in Poland. They do some really great stuff. I know from working at Sony, some of these really great game designers and graphic artists and stuff like that are in Poland. And I don't think that they get nearly as much press and spotlight as they should. Mandala, the greatest Russian actor in screen history, Sean Connery and Sam Neill. Which, by the way, Lee, you and me, it's like big fans of The Hunt for Red October. Folks, if you haven't seen it, The Hunt for Red October is now available on Netflix, and it already, it's like, oh, hey, The Hunt for Red October.
It's one of my favorite Cold War documentaries.
Yeah, I'm going to add that to my favorites list. I look on it, it's like I already have, from the last time that it was on Netflix, which was years ago or something like that. Apparently,
I don't have Netflix.
I think Netflix deletes anything. I think it's just got an on and an off button. It's like, we no longer have the license to this, so we're just going to turn it to the off position. But on the occasion that we do get the license back for it, we can turn it to the on position. Meanwhile, it just lives on our server till then.
Probably. I actually don't currently have Netflix. I let it lapse like 2 months ago.
I think it is also on Amazon Prime. Okay, Lizard Brain just came running back in the room. This wasn't what I was talking about, but wait, I've got a sticky note for that. Lee,
what?
And everybody else who is ever frustrated with the old Amazon UI, Amazon Prime UI. It got better, over the last couple of years, but recently, like within the last week, the UI changed again, and it looks a lot better. I don't think it searches any better. It's still got some when I do it on my console, I have Amazon Prime app on my PlayStation console. It still doesn't have the movies that I own organized in a way that I like. It does it through chronologically purchase, and that pisses me off. But like the UI itself, like the play, the rewind, and all that stuff, it looks. They changed it. It's a little bit more rounded, a little bit. In fact, now that I think about it, it looks a little bit like Disney Plus. And you know what? I like it.
If they would change it so that you could scroll, like your first scroll, horizontal scroll is chronological, but you could then scroll down underneath that and see it alphabetical, that would be awesome. Yeah. All they need to do is make a scroll down feature, and their UI would not be so abysmal. I understand why they have the latest, chronological, is because most of the time it's like you just bought something and you want to watch it. Yeah. And if you just bought Zoolander, you're scrolling forever if you have My Movie Collection. So I understand why they made it so that the chronological order is the one that pops up, but they really do need to fix that, because I've been buying digital movies since they started doing it, because I have it's for my work. But it's frustrating as all hell to have to scroll through thousands of movies chronologically by default. I wish they would let us either change that or just add that simple scroll down one thing to a new arrangement, would be cool. Because honestly, if you're checking for something chronologically, you're probably not going to go more than maybe a couple of weeks in is the stuff you bought recently that you're thinking about. Other than that, you're going to remember it by its name, not by when you bought it.
Right, exactly. And like again, when I'm on my console and I'm using like literally the PlayStation, controller, trying to like type out, you know,
Oh, that's
B I
dude. That's
T. It's
up
like, do
there
you
with
mean
this.
big for Tom Hanks or big? It's like space T. Oh, there we go. It's like it's really good. At that point, it's like, oh, I see what you're doing. It's like because you're trying to find Big Trouble in Little China. It's like yes, that's exactly it.
But
Dungeon Brat lurking in the background. Thank you very much, Dungeon Brat.
Thank you. The problem I have, though, just in general with that UI, is I think I tweeted it not long ago. It basically, like, I think a 6th grader or a 6-year-old with a box of crayons could make a better UI. It's so painful to look at, and honestly, like trying to spell something out using a console remote and that stupid keyboard. The functionality of that is about on par with being about as comfortable as like voluntary root canal, possibly a DIY lobotomy. So neither of which sound pleasant. So it's horrible.
Right.
Need to actually release that DIY lobotomy kit. I patented it years ago, forgot to do anything with it. May have tested it on myself, which would explain a lot. I like how now that we're done bashing Amazon, it got really quiet. So what?
I'm taking the effort because I just noticed there's this icon. Dungeon Brat is lurking. Gives us a heart, gives us some love. Thank you very much. But then right next to their name, it says it's like there's the mute speaker. So it says watching without audio. So I figured it's like okay. But so I wrote to Dungeon Brat. It's like glad to have you here. Lee is working on art for StocktonCon. Ron Perlman is going to be there, so Lee is doing Hellboy art because he can't hear us say it. So I just typed it out.
There we go.
Diadems joins us. Hey, Diadems, welcome. Say, hey, don't want to knock DIY lobotomy kit until you've done it.
I think I knocked it after I did it, as in like knocked it over. It's like what was that? What was that joke with? I was gonna say what was that joke George Carlin cracked? It's like, don't you love that sudden gust of fresh air you get right when the axe enters your skull? I threw you off. Lizard brain.
No. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to phrasing. I was trying to figure out a good way. But Big Trouble in Little China, one of my favorite movies. I've been watching it a lot because I've been watching The Thing, and because it's been so hot, I've been watching The Thing.
And dreaming of snow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, it makes me feel better. It's like, yeah.
It's like this weather sucks, but at least I'm not getting chased by an alien.
So that's what I do. If it's really hot, I watch The Thing with Kurt Russell in it and Keith David. It's like what can happen to you in Antarctica when you're being hunted by a shape-shifting alien.
Yeah, so that's the same reason I would watch it. Is it's like just to remind myself that as hot as it is, it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. And then after I watch that, I just like, oh, well, might as well queue up, Big Trouble in Little China. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, go out, and watch it like right now. We'll wait. You've got time.
We forgive you.
It is one of my all-time favorite movies. And it is reading some of the production notes on it is actually kind of fascinating. And then my brother actually told me something that didn't show up, and I had to dig for it a little bit. But yeah, he is correct. That movie, again, John Carpenter. He's also the one who did the soundtrack because that's what John Carpenter does.
Yep.
It's like I can get 2 or possibly 3 paychecks off of this movie if I just keep doing more.
I'll keep the budget down if you hire me.
Yeah.
By hiring myself.
Yeah, exactly. You're paying. He'll give you a discount since he's doing all of it anyway. But the item says, fun fact: The Thing was filmed on the ice fields near Wrangell, Alaska. Supposedly, the set is still there. oh, we should go see it before it melts away with all this global warming. Because if it would have stayed cold, it would still be there.
It would be a tourist attraction, a reason to visit Alaska.
But the Big Trouble in Little China was kind of innovative for its time because it was a mainstream U.S. movie that had a predominantly Asian cast. I mean, other than Kurt Russell and God, Lizard Ray, come on, help me out here, buddy. Kim Cattrall.
Come on.
Yeah, Kim Cattrall. It's everybody else is Asian, and which was like pretty daring at that time. But after the movie was finished, and they did some testing, it's always good to do some testing on the test audience and everything. It did come across that Kurt Russell is more the sidekick in this movie than the hero.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, kind of, he kind of is supposed to be, because he is kind of, it's like a fish out of water kind of a thing. So yeah, that probably won't test well with a mainstream audience. It's like, okay. So they went back and they shot that first scene that everybody knows where Egg Shen is in the lawyer's office and the lawyer's asking him, it's like, can you give us, any information on the events that happened on such and such a day? And Egg Shen says, no, you can understand, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and sir, do you have any information about, the whereabouts of Jack Burton? He says, you leave Jack Burton alone. Jack Burton has done so, he is a hero and everything like that. So it sets this up that basically they're telling you that Jack Burton is the hero, because in the movie without that, he looks just like a goofball, and he kind of is, but that's the way he was supposed to be played too.
Yeah.
He's a little bit the everyman. And the everyman might not be the best hero in a martial arts film.
Yeah. I like how periodically he just sits there and tries to go up against the martial artist guys, and they do things like break his weapons or
he's like
just all like, this is not good.
This also again, it's very totally back in the thing when they go to the airport and he's like telling that they're about to the Asian gang is about to go up to kidnap the girl, and he pulls one of them off of him and says, hey buddy, and the guy pulls a butterfly knife, and the other one pulls like a sword out of his jacket. Jack Burton goes, where'd you get that?
Where did that come from?
Where'd that come from?
How did you get that through TSA?
Exactly. Mandala, I can't remember if I ever claimed my Egg Shen card from Lee. Lee, did you do an Egg Shen card for Mandala?
I did.
Oh my God, that's awesome! I
have to go through my stuff, but I'm pretty sure we gave it to him before the pandemic, because that was when I when I did.
But if you got it, if you made a scan of it or something like that, I would love to see that.
Honestly,
so that
we
guy.
Don't have it, I'll redo it for
let me look up his name. Egg Shen.
By the way, bonus points to Jonas F. Stock for actually using the splatter emote while I was splattering. The reason I created it, and the funny thing is everybody else uses it for, I use it for ruined or, splatter, and everybody else uses it to show somebody getting blown up or stabbed. Right. So, bonus points, Jonas. Thank you, sir. I'm so proud.
Lee, this is a quiz for Lee. Much like how Tombstone was competing with Wyatt Earp, and they came out about the same time, what movie was Big Trouble and Little China competing with?
The Golden Child?
Very good! That's it exactly! So John Carpenter knew that the Golden Child was in production, because I guess he had been consulted on it. So he knew that it was out there. So they hustled. They shot this something they did Big Trouble in Little China in 90 days or something like that. And then again he scores them, and so but yeah, they were trying to get it out by summer, because I guess the Golden Child was scheduled to release during the holiday season.
And in
But
in the mid '80s, nobody wanted to go up against Eddie Murphy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Eddie Murphy, huge. But what's also is great is that Egg Shen, played by the actor Victor Wong, is in both of those movies.
He plays the same character.
So Victor Wong is like collecting paychecks, saying, "Hey man, I don't care."
It's like, quick, somebody make another Karate Kid movie.
Yeah, exactly. Get me in there.
I've got a Thursday open.
Wait, I didn't think that it was Karate Kid, but it was Three Ninjas where he played Grandpa.
Oh, good God.
Yes, he did. Yeah, exactly.
I was joking, but yeah, even
No,
better.
it was Kurt Russell and his John Wayne impression. Yeah, exactly. No. No, and
I forgot about
that's totally
that.
done on purpose because, again, fun fact:
The
Big
Pork
Trouble
Chop
in Little China
Express.
was actually pitched as a Western. The original script was a Western. So essentially, Big Trouble in Little China is like Shanghai Noon. And it's like, okay, yeah, no. And then, the people, it's like, who bought the script and everything. It's like, well, we don't want to do a period piece. It's like, well, let's rework it, in modern day. It's like, well, then where's the time? It's like, well, it's the it's still the same thing. It's like, it's modern day San Francisco instead of like Gold Rush era San Francisco, which again is Shanghai Noon. And so that's kind of like, Kurt Russell, it's like, well, knew this, or it used to be a Western, but now it's not. It's like, but he says, yeah, but this Jack Burton character is, they said it's like as much. It's like he's kind of the cowboy, but he's also, like in Shuri from Wakanda, it's a colonizer. He just assumes, that he's the one in control because he's the white guy, and the Asians don't know what they're doing. When in fact it's the other way around. It's like you have no, it's like, what is that? It's like, oh, black blood of the earth. It's like, you mean oil? It's like, no, I mean black blood of the earth. All this stuff. So but it is this thing, where it does kind of like speak to some of the cultures in colliding there, and so Jack Burton is this kind of John Wayne doof, in a martial arts movie. And also says, was it The Last Dragon? No, but The Last Dragon is still awesome.
I love how Jonas killed Queel.
With Bruce Leroy.
No, Bruce Leroy. I forgot about that. I'm sort of bummed because I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and one of the things that pops up on my feed all the time is Stargate. So, for those who don't know, I've been on 5 Stargate projects. None of them have seen the light of day. Every time, like some of them haven't even gotten started. Like literally, like we're hired, contracts are drawn, things like that. Project dies, contracts get withdrawn. It's been so painful trying to work on anything Stargate related. And so yeah, watching this whole thing, I guess they're saying Brad Wright's basically saying it's been 2 years since he's actually spoken to anybody from MGM. Since the Amazon deal, so we don't know if Stargate will ever happen or not. But I'm so frustrated because it should.
I mean,
everybody else is making reboots and shit.
Again, speaking of Big Trouble in Little China after drinking the potion, I feel really good, man. But I feel that with all of the online services out there, and again, I feel it's like, Amazon more than Netflix would pick up Stargate series.
Yeah.
And do a new one or do a better one. I don't know why, but I just got a feeling that Amazon that like Stargate would have a much better home on Amazon than Netflix.
I
mean, Netflix
agree.
is still the most popular streaming service out there. They do a lot of cool original content, but whatever. I just feel that Stargate would be, have a better fit with Amazon Prime. I don't know why, but maybe it's because of The Expanse and some of the other stuff that they do. But I just feel that Amazon Prime, Amazon Studios would do a better job on Stargate.
I agree. I think that it's actually because they did so well on The Expanse. And, I wish that they would do the other books of The Expanse. I'm kind of bummed that
Uh-huh.
they canceled it when they did, but they still, we got what 5-6 seasons of The Expanse, so
Yeah.
that's better than Netflix's general thing, which is we'll give you 3 seasons, probably 1. You get 4 if it's a really good show, though.
Yeah.
So, think of, Stranger Things, their most successful show. It's, well, actually, it might not be. I think Sandman is now maybe taking them over. But
We should give a nod to Sandman. Have you watched any of it?
no, I have no Netflix. I canceled.
Oh,
my
that's
Netflix
right.
account
I'm
months
so
ago.
sorry. I keep forgetting about this. I feel also though that series will also have life outside of Netflix. It's so funny because like in another window here, I've been having it in the same conversation via text with a friend of mine, and I was saying to him, it's like, yeah, Sandman is great. It's a lot of fun, but the way that it's shot, the way it's produced, it has this veneer, like the sets, and there's something about it, the special effect. It looks like Once Upon a Time, that ABC show, or that ABC television show. And
That's not a
I don't know, just the cameras that they're using and the lenses and there's something about it that reminds me of like Once Upon a Time,
Not
which
a
I'm here
compliment.
for. I thought Once Upon a Time was really cool, but it's like, this looks like an ABC production.
I did a signing with what's her name from Once Upon a Time, Keegan
Oh,
Connor
really?
Tracy. Yeah, I when I did, I was a guest at VisionCon, which was still one of my favorite like small conventions I've ever done. It was so much fun. So they paid me to go out there, and the funny thing is I offered to do their catalog, the program cover for them. For free, because I was like, you guys are paying me to go out there. You're paying for my food. You're paying for my hotel. You're paying for the flight. Yeah, let me do your catalog cover. So I did their catalog cover, and unfortunately, rather than usually if the designer has a question about something, they'll go to somebody who might know what the hell they're talking about. This, I guess, they just gave it to a college kid for credit.
just
And-
any cost. It's like, hey, or it's like, what cost?
Well, so
I'm
everybody,
here.
almost every convention either does their program guide is usually 8.5 by 11, or it's ashcan size, so half that, so 8.5
Right.
by 5.5. And
Lee, Brennan, we're joined by BS Mallard himself.
hey, what's up?
Excuse me.
Welcome
Hello.
to the stream.
What's up, Brian?
But yeah, so so I offered to do the program for them, and I did it. But when they printed it, rather than calling me to ask about, or I asked them about dimension, and they were just like, yeah, just regular. Like they really said just regular dimensions. And I was like, well, that's really accurate, thanks. And so I just did it 8.5 by 11 with an all white bleed, so that they could resize it and crop and do whatever they want. And but it was basically ratioed. It was 11 by 14 or whatever, so it was ratioed, or 11 by 17, or 7. I'm sorry. I think it was 16 by 20, something like that. But anyways, it was ratioed for 8.5 by 11. And so I sent them the file, and rather than using that white bleed and cropping it, they kept the white bleed and they squished it down to comic book size, which is a different aspect ratio. So everybody's squished and tall. And they showed me the thing, and the guy's sitting there holding it up proudly, like, I did the design work on this. And I'm just like dying on the inside. Just like, did you not look at the file I gave you? It had like 2 feet of white space. You didn't have to use all of it. So
it looks weird.
yeah, it's like, how do you not
order?
look at it and realize that you crushed everybody? Like they
Yeah.
look like they didn't shut down the trash compactor in the Death Star in time.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
So yes, I was very bummed by it. But anyway, so I did Keegan Connor Tracy's portrait. She played the Blue Fairy character in Once Upon a Time. And then also there was a convention I did. So I have a weird relationship with Once Upon a Time because she was interesting to work with. But we also ended up doing. I did a convention, RegalCon, I think it was called, up in Long Beach. Mm-hmm. And I guess RegalCon's very first convention was specifically a Once Upon a Time convention. So they had like all the main cast, all the A-listers were there.
Right.
and the hotel was overbooked. Like, I mean, they
Oh, really?
like a
Oh.
tiny little convention for this show, and they had something stupid like 50,000 people show up, and in a hotel. So I mean, they said,
Right.
yeah, it's like the fire marshal was like getting involved in stuff because it was so crazy at one point. And so
Yeah.
when they invited me, I was super excited looking at all this, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great because all the stuff I see from the previous show, which was 18 months before, looked really amazing. So, and everybody else thought the same thing. And it turned out they now decided to save money. They would only hire the C-list actors from the show.
Oh.
and it was literally it was only the second time ever I've done an event where there were more exhibitors than there were attendees.
Oh.
It was painful.
Yeah.
I mean, like, literally, Kevin Grievous and I are sitting there talking to each other, like plotting movies and like this dragon sword and sorcery project he's working on. And so we were sitting there like bantering. I'm doing sketches and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, if this thing gets picked up, you're a producer." And I'm like, "Oh, awesome." And so Kevin is he's the guy who created Underworld. So
Yes.
let's hope that dragon project gets picked up someday. But
Right.
Yeah.
but that was like 5 years ago, so I doubt it. But yeah, that Regal.
And he
Con
also
was-
stars in,
Oh.
he's one of the supporting cast members
He's-
in Underworld too. He's the
giant black
one
dude.
of the werewolves.
Yeah. The one with the amazing voice.
Yeah,
Were you
no,
followed?
Oh yeah, no,
No.
his voice
No.
is they're I'm sure that he's calling towards Earth elementals that they can hear him. And
Yeah.
it's got those subtones, those sub bass tones that are below human hearing. It's amazing.
Yep, he's got a great voice.
Yeah. Oh.
Hi, Brian.
Brian, welcome. Brian, Brennan, I'm going to step away for just a minute. Go right ahead.
I'm here
Howdy.
doing my thing. What's up, man?
Oh, nothing much. Just
So-
absolutely tired. This heat and humidity
Ugh.
sucks.
Aren't you so glad we're going to be in an air-conditioned car all day Friday?
Yes. Yes, I am.
So,
No.
so this weekend, I'm going to give everybody the quick brief here. So this weekend, Brian and I are actually, Brian is driving. We're going up to Stockton Con, which I'm going to hang out with Ron Perlman for a bit, and that's why I'm doing these drawings here. So, although I really don't like this one. I mean, it's accurate. Okay, it looks like Ron. It's okay. But I'm really kind of not liking the painterly quality. Like I've never painted on this paper before, so I'm experimenting. It said it could do gouache, and then it curled up on me. So I'm sitting here thinking, nah, no, it can't. So I may never not use it for that anymore. It might just go back to pen and ink and color pencil stuff. But I thought it would be kind of cool to gouache paint on kind of an orange paper. And by the way, that's red, that's orange. It's stupid. So, but yeah, so we're going to be going up to Stockton Con. I'm assuming, now I did, I asked you about, did you want to see Doug's collection or Doug's petting zoo? Which is just, Doug lives on a ranch, and he's got horses and goats and dogs and all kinds of stuff. So it's, I joke around that it's a petting zoo. It's not a literal petting zoo. But there are lots of animals there. But I was talking to him, and so yeah, it's like if we want, we can meet up with him at his house. Worst case scenario, we also head up to, if time permits, we can also head up to San Bernardino, not San Bernardino, Santa Barbara, to check out the collection if you'd like.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, it should be a great, fruitful, fun, productive weekend.
Yes. I am excited for it.
And we get to hang out in the museum again.
Yes.
Always,
Oh my God,
always
that
my
was
favorite
awesome.
part of this show, and it's one of the things I love about this show. It's honestly, if I don't make a boatload of money at this show, I'm still happy. If I
Yeah.
make a boatload of money, I'm ecstatic. But if I don't make a boatload of money, I'm still happy doing the show because, again, they pay for the hotel, they feed us, and we also get Hopefully they give us a 2-bed this time.
Yeah.
I
I'm not
requested
very
it,
much for
so-
cuddling.
Yeah, I requested it, so, you know. I remember last year, like, we showed up a day early, and they're like, we're out of pullouts, or out of the folding beds. And it's like, what are you talking about, Willis? Like, we're here a day before everybody else, and you're telling me you don't have a single goddamn cot. By the way, I have a cot. So
I don't think it's going to fit with everything else.
yeah, I don't think so either. I still have to pack, so I'm gonna. That's tomorrow for me.
Yeah, so do I.
So
Um,
I tried to do laundry today. I got half of it done.
I actually was good and did that yesterday. On Sunday.
I'm not. I failed miserably. It's. I got one load in the washer, one load in the dryer, waiting for the load in the washer is waiting for the load in the dryer to go home. And then I'm streaming, so that's not going to happen till later.
Oh, I still need to clean out my car, which I plan to do because I was mistaken. I thought we were heading up on Thursday, so I took Thursday off, and then
Oh,
I'm
cool.
like, oh, so we're heading up on Friday? Okay, good. I can clean out my car and do everything else I'm supposed to do on Thursday morning.
Perfect. What time did you want to come over Thursday?
I was thinking like afternoon,
Sure.
like maybe
Well,
2 or something.
Yeah, since you're
Gives me
taking
time
the
to
day
sleep in.
off. Absolutely. And that gives me time to get all kinds of work done, stay up super late, and then sleep in your car on the way up to
Yeah.
Doug's. You can talk with Maria. I'll be snoring. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to this weekend. So can't complain. It's gonna be a blast.
Oh yeah. I think the only thing I am not looking forward towards this weekend
Mm-hmm.
is that stretch of 5 between the Grapevine and Stockton.
Yeah, right. Yeah, basically right after the Tejon Pass
Yes.
and Stockton. Anything in between then is just,
So half of the state.
yeah, pretty much. It's what's up, Steve?
Hey,
Yeah, we're gonna have to drive through, just God, what is it, like 400 miles of just a straight road.
yeah, it's
I-
pretty awful.
It's a
I-
bleak road.
To give you an idea how much I hate this, I will routinely, if I have to make that drive, take a several 100-mile detour just so I don't have to do that drive.
By the way,
99 is better because it's not as straight and there are like little towns along the way. But
I'm okay with
it's pretty awful. When I used to live in Oakland and I would drive down to Southern California, oftentimes I would just drive at nighttime because at least it's dark and I can't see the nothingness that's that part of the freeway.
Jonas.
See the nothing that's in my soul.
So Jonas has just gifted. Hang on, guys, really fast.
The
Jonas
slaughterhouses.
Jonas has gifted 5 subs, guys.
Yes.
Thank
Jonas,
you,
thank you
Jonas.
so much.
Of course it's Jonas.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's at 443.
That's amazing.
Dance, Brian, dance.
I'm getting